Welcome back to Talking Hip Hop. I'm your host, JustKeekz, and today's guest is Jon Kabongo.
King. May plays the whole week, the blow a bag on ting. Some bottles on the ice ain't coming out the buckets they bring. Section full of BBLs and heavy chains that swing. Designer from head down to the hills. They let you in with a hammer, don't own her, made you a deal. They won't say a word if you slide them a couple bills. And then see a thing if the night ends with some kills. Staying alert with that blanc.
Jon Kabongo is a Canadian rapper and former athlete, receiving co-signs from Complex Canada, DJ Academics, Rapzilla, Sports Illustrated, and more. Joining mentorship program The Remix Project helped kickstart Jon's musical career. During his time at The Remix Project, Jon developed his third album titled City News at 6, where he takes his listeners through an intricate and melodic experience while revealing personal experiences within his own life. Please welcome to the show, Jon Kabongo.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
I'm good. This is actually our first interview for 2024.
There we go.
I'm excited.
First.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanted to jump right in. What was your upbringing like growing up, and how did that influence your passion for music and making music?
So I grew up in a Congolese household, 5 older siblings, and I think, especially when it came to music, I think my mom was very passionate about just like the music that she grew up on, a lot of Congolese gospel music. She really loved that. And I think I heard that a lot from her. But then my older siblings, they were into like rap, right? So I gained a lot of like my musical taste from those different parties, right?
Okay, nice.
And like, I think now I'm at a point where, I'm a little older and like I've developed my own taste, just by exploring myself. But I think that's where it starts, and I never really was in a house where like musicians were like, just like all over the place. It was more so basketball. I was in a basketball family. But, I have a brother that's an actor. I do have a brother that's like into music right now. So it definitely still like was there, but it wasn't like the most like prominent thing in the household. It was definitely more of like a athletic household.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that being said, like, let's go back a little bit. I did my research, like I always do.
There you go.
And let's take it back to the year is 2018, 2019. You're a student at a prestigious university known as Virginia Tech. For the viewers watching at home, you received academic honor roll. You were a part of the Virginia Tech's men's basketball team. And during this time, you did suffer multiple injuries that kind of stopped you from performing your best. And it seemed like leading up to this, you had a bright future ahead of you, and looked like you'd have a successful career in basketball. And then this happens, and it changes your life completely. What exactly happened during that time, and when was the turning point where you were like, okay, this is not really working anymore. This is what kind of was promised for you. Okay, I'm gonna do music.
Right.
When did that like turning point happen?
I mean, I think, a lot of the injuries that I dealt with started in high school. So because of that, I was forced to think of other things that I enjoyed doing, right? So by the time I got to university and, I had a surgery on my hip and, I'm recovering from that, and it wasn't really like getting to a point where playing basketball consistently was even realistic anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I've already built this habit of like making music, and like putting it out and sharing it and being like somewhat confident with it. So it was something that I kind of leaned towards a little bit more, just because I had lost something so big, and like I luckily had something. It wasn't even a backup. It was just something else that was part of me, right? So it was still hard. Like it was still tough.
Yeah.
To lose basketball because like both were part of my identity. But it's like at least I had something else, that I still felt comfortable with and passionate about. So.
Yeah. Like I know Denzel Washington, he once said this thing. He's like, have something to fall back on. And like growing up, his teachers would be like, have something to fall back on. But he didn't really realize what that meant. And I feel like you said something, and I did want to talk about it. So when this happened, an article that Virginia Tech's men's basketball team covered on you, you said like something extremely touching, and I just wanted to read it here. I quote, "I also just want to take the time to remind anyone who feels defined by what they are known for, to remember that it's not the end of the world when it's no longer a part of your life. We can be anything we want to be. And if you feel like what you used to be is not you anymore, don't let the reputation of your past hold you back." I feel like that's kind of what you're kind of leaning on. But could you talk a little bit about what that quote meant to you?
Yeah, because I mean, I was just known for basketball.
Yeah.
It was like inescapable.
Wow.
Like people knew me as a basketball player, like strangers.
Wow, even strangers.
Yeah, you know, just because you're playing on such a national level.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like I'm playing for the national team. I'm playing at a big university. So it's like everybody knows you're doing this thing, or everybody is like looking at you as a person that does this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what made it hard was like there was nothing I could do about it.
True. Yeah,
like I couldn't play if I wanted to.
Exactly.
You know, and like I was so used to like being able to like push through injuries and recover. And this was the first time where I was like, oh, like this is done. You know, so that was a hard thing for me to like navigate, especially when you talk about identity. Because I'm so young. This is not when this part of my identity is supposed to end. Yeah. But it was. Yeah. And, you know, I think I just came from a place where like I had a reason and I had the experience to be able to say something like that because I was like in the heat of it.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't believe that, like I would have just been stuck in whatever it was for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's extremely important to recognize that like what you might be good at the time, that doesn't define you. There's like so many things you can do, right? So do you think that if the events that led up to, you know, temporarily, you know, pausing your basketball career, if that didn't happen, do you think you'd be still pursuing music and be so well at it now?
I think I would still pursue it. You know, like I was always very passionate about music.
Yeah.
Like I was a creative writing major in school. So like I was just passionate about language. Yeah. Especially in music, you know? So yeah, that was always something that I loved. I don't really see myself not doing it if I even went further with sports, because I used to look up to people like Damian Lillard, who's like a very successful basketball player, but who's also, you know, very consistent with like his music in the off season. I always thought that was cool.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I would love to do that, you know, because I'm passionate about both too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you were kind of actively pursuing both. When I was reading the articles, I thought it was first basketball. And that happened and you're like, okay, but I didn't know you were juggling it both.
Yeah, no, I definitely like was, especially like pretty early, like from like high school, I was like putting out music.
And it feels like with that whole thing, your family was also very much into basketball too. So did that kind of put pressure on you too? Because it's like, oh, all my siblings are doing it. It just feels like I got to do it too.
I mean, I definitely felt like basketball was a responsibility, but it was a responsibility that I enjoyed. Okay. Like I liked it.
To do it.
Yeah, I didn't. Like, it's not like, you know, I hated basketball. But I knew that, like, yeah, I'm playing basketball, you know? Like, I had no issue with that. I leaned into it, you know? So, yeah.
And let's switch gears to your music. So your latest album, titled City News at 6, what inspired the title and the track list? I feel like if you're from Toronto, you're probably already aware of what City News at 6 is. But why that title for your album? And tell us about the tracks on it.
I think for me, like, I wanted to tell the story that, like, I felt like wasn't being told, like, from a certain perspective. Okay. You know, like, I rap. I made a rap album. I'm a person from Toronto that raps. I feel like people from Toronto that rap tend to have a bad reputation in the media. You know, granted, you know, sometimes the things they're doing aren't the most positive. But sometimes, as a person, that knows a lot of these famous rappers just through basketball from a young age, I seen it all develop. Like I've seen how these people go from one thing to the next. And, you know, it's a lot more complex than like, you know, they just woke up one day and decided to be what you see on the news. And like, that's why I called it City News at 6, because it's like, okay, like this is the full length story. This isn't just like the headline or like the bad ending, you know, and like there's also hope. Like it's not just like, oh, this is where it ends and that's it. It's like, okay, this is how it can be corrected. This is how it can be, you know, just improved.
Right.
Like, you know, it doesn't always have to be like the ending that we, you know, cringe at.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be something else.
It sounds like, you know, there's always someone else writing our story for us, but you kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to write my own story. And not, you see the news kind of, they're always portraying, especially impoverished neighborhoods, as bad and violent and dangerous. But there's so many talented people that come from these places. So I could kind of relate to what you're saying of like
100%.
wanting to take it into your own hands.
100%.
And last summer, you actually collaborated with Thelonious, who we had on the show a while back.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and you released a song titled Dear Summer.
Yes, I love that song.
Yeah, and we're going to play a short snippet of it right now.
Okay, nice.
Hope you know I've been waiting on your arrival. I got some plans for us with hopes of winning a title. Had a plot for months to guarantee my survival amongst all the rivals, but I don't see no comp. They taunt, I'm staying idle. I'm always working, the splurging was never vital. It's sickening how they lose it trying to go viral. I just hope the run that we had go bring us to trial. Homicidal intentions for a revival of the lyrical bar that we once knew. The pandas make them kick weak rhymes like kung fu. Don't need designer to feel like I'm worth your time. And I'm just saying from now that you gon' be mine. You come around and they draw the sticks with no puck. We watch them play with him in June like the Stanley Cup. Yeah, I stayed alive in your presence, it can't be luck. I'm here for a reason, this season summer is up.
No weapon formed against me will prosper.
So now with that song, what was your mindset like when developing your verse for it?
Honestly, it was like, it wasn't that deep. It was just like.
It sounded deep.
okay. It obviously was deep.
Yeah.
But it was like, he came in the studio, he was like, you want to rap to Dear Summer? I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, wow.
So that I just wrote a letter to Summer.
Okay.
You know, and like, I feel like maybe not everybody's listening to it that way. Maybe everybody is, because the song's called Dear Summer. But yeah, I was like, how about like, I talk to Summer in this verse, you know, about the different ways that I want to like go about it. Like, you know, like I felt like that summer was a big summer for me, and like, you know, what did I want to say to Summer, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Here you go again, just writing your own story. You mentioned that like last summer was a big summer for you. Like how so? What was going on during that time?
I mean, I'm getting ready to release City News.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I'm in the remix project. You know, I feel like I'm building my name as an artist. Yeah, I think I laid my foundation last summer for like who I'm gonna be as an artist in the future. And you know, I definitely, you know, took into account that I really, really wanted to just not hesitate with that. You know, or not get cold feet at all.
Yeah.
So.
What is Camel Files?
So Camel Files is a series of just episodes, you know, that show the behind the scenes process of just me recording performances, just doing different things. I'm in an era of my career that, you know, I want to play as a character I call Camel Pen.
Okay.
And, you know, basically, I feel like that character is a character that flies under the radar, you know, but it's also a character that blends in different, you know, musical spaces. Like, no matter where you put that character, they can fit in musically. And, yeah, I feel like it'll make a lot more sense the more I put things out, you know. I feel like the Camel Pen person will definitely be a dope thing to look back on like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Because there'll be another one.
There'll be another one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something I continue to do with my career.
Okay.
Just like create these different characters, these different
I
eras.
like that.
Especially for like, you know, down the line when I'm doing bigger tours. Like that's really the goal. Like I want to make my tours very theatrical.
Yeah.
And like, you know, having certain characters would be a dope idea for that. So it's like start now just to build that skill.
I like that. And again, with the camel pen, I feel like there's this constant theme of like, you did mention you studied creative writing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a constant theme that's tying into your music. Could you talk a little bit about, you know, what made you want to enroll in creative writing and how it kind of plays hand in hand with your music career?
Yeah, no, I take writing seriously. Like I read books.
Yeah.
You know, like I write poetry. Like I treat my writing seriously. Like I do research when I write my songs. You know, like especially for an album like City News at 6.
I can hear that though. When I listen to some of your songs, I can tell you're very tedious.
Right. And that's the thing. I think that's the best word. Like I'm very like tedious, you know, because I'm like, I want somebody to print these lyrics out and be able to read it to a class. And the reason why I feel like that is because I used to read a whole bunch of people in class. And I'm like, I would rather read Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Just because it's the same level of literature, but it's rap, so no one's gonna think of it like that. And sometimes, you know, based off of what you might print out, people might not take it as serious. So, yeah, like I definitely feel like rap is always deserving of being considered in that conversation. But not everybody approaches it with that same mentality. It's just seen as entertainment, which is why I took creative writing. Because I'm like, okay, if I could really learn this and, you know, see what the standard is and see how I could operate as a writer on the highest level, apply that to my music, I could take it where I want to take it.
100%. And I was actually going to say, when you said to print your lyrics out, I'm like, you should think about getting that at a school or in a classroom. And then you said exactly that.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's important that, especially in hip hop, we're thinking beyond just the sound and also about the lyrics. So I think that's a great thing. And I can tell you're also a lyricist as well.
Most definitely, yeah. Sure.
And I know that, as I mentioned in the intro, you got some really big cosigns on you. I mean, Complex Canada, DJ Academics, Rapzilla, and more. How does this come into fruition for you? And how does it feel?
Most of the time, especially because I'm not all the way there yet, you know, it comes with reaching out.
Yeah.
You know, and people just enjoying what they see, which is just something I'm grateful for, you know, when you're still not all the way there, but people at a higher stage recognize you and respect what you do and share what you do, you know. And I think to me, it feels good because it's like I'm finally getting to different crowds, different people, you know, and that's really all I want. Like, it's not necessarily fame. It's more so like, I want this to get to people. Like I want...
You want a lot of reach.
Yeah. Like I want people to hear my music.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just make a song and keep it for myself.
Yeah.
Like I know some people, maybe that's what they want with their art, and I respect that. You know, but I'm definitely not that person. Like, I want somebody in Russia to hear my music. I want somebody in Mexico to hear my music. Someone, you know, in South Africa to hear my music.
Coastal.
So, like, you know, it's, whether they like it or not, I want them to hear it.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. It is important, especially as an emerging artist. You do everything to get that out to a large crowd. And not just, I think we got to stop thinking of just Toronto alone. Like, hello.
The world.
Global.
The world, for real.
I hear that 100%. And you actually paid homage to J. Cole by rapping over one of his classics off his 2014 Forest Hill Drive album. And you did it to the song January 28th.
Yes.
Why the song? Tell us about the making of the music video. Let's discuss that.
I mean, it was a series. I did.
Oh, it was a series.
I started with Kendrick.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, school me. Tell me more.
Right. So, I mean, you know, these are my 3 biggest inspirations from young. And I feel like it was just cool to see them end up being what they were as I got older. You know, and I think now they're both in like that part of their career where they're kind of turning into like legacy acts in a way.
Yeah.
You know,
they're very big, yeah.
You know, they're not coming up anymore. They don't have to prove anything anymore. They're there. Like it's solidified.
And you know who they are.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, and it was just cool seeing them turn into the artists that they've become as I grew older because, yeah, I was very invested since like an early age, like grade 5, 6, 7, you know?
Wow,
So,
you've been paying, sorry to cut you off, but you were following them from like when no one knew about them.
Early.
Wow.
Like this was like very, very early.
Yeah.
Granted, I had older siblings.
Okay,
but
true.
Like it was still uncommon for anybody to really pay attention to it. Like I cared. Like I knew all the songs.
Really?
And like they were my favorite artists.
Okay, sorry, you said 3. You said Kendrick, J. Cole, who's the third one?
And Drake.
Drake, okay.
Right. So this is before like Drake really, really took off. It was like when it was right at the start. I just remember like being a kid and like just like, oh my God, this person's from Toronto? That was the first time I felt that way about a Toronto artist. So yeah, I mean, I started with Kendrick and I did Savior song and I remixed it. And then I did Drake and I did J. Cole. But the twist is I released it all on their birthdays, right?
Okay.
So every release that I did, it was like on the day they were born. And it was like, okay, this is the day they're born, but at the same time, like, this is the time where like a new artist is born too, you know? So it's like me paying homage to like their existence and like introducing myself. So obviously like January 28th, that's J. Cole's birthday. You know, so it was only right for me to end the series with that song since like he already had a song that had his birthday on it. The series is about birthdays, whatever. And yeah, I mean, if you listen to the song, it's like, it's just my story, but showing you how J. Cole's music influenced my upbringing and how his music was just part of it the whole time. You know, from 6th grade, 5th grade, you know? So, yeah, I think hopefully one day I get to meet these people, have conversations with these people, but I really wrote it as if they were right there, like right in front of me. It was like, what would you say to them?
Oh, wow. That's a deep, like,
if I was in
a
a chair,
think about it.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like that's a interesting way to think about, I guess, developing a song, thinking about like, if you were to like be right in front of them, what are you saying to them? And then I assume that you get so much inspo from that. And you can rap really well when you have that mindset. And all 3 of those artists, I guess J. Cole and Kendrick are kind of similar, but then there's Drake. Like they're all very different, and I feel like they kind of, you can hear their influence on you,
right,
in your music.
Most definitely.
You actually attended the 2023 Legacy Awards, which is basically like an awards show that commemorates and celebrates Canadian talent, Black Canadian talent to be specific. What was attending this event like, and how did you find out about it? Because it looks very exclusive. Like you probably need an invite to get into that.
No, you could buy tickets and go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. But yeah, I think it was like a remix that were like, does anybody want to go? Like we have, you know, a few extra tickets, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
Like I'm really, really glad I went because it was like, it was only the second time it's happened. We've never had that. We had it at History. You know, it's celebrating the Black talent in the community in Toronto. You know, it's showing what this could be if we continue to build it. And I was just thinking about, you know, that, like, what can this continue to be? Because this is just the start. You know, this could really, it's already nationally televised. Like, this could be something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so honestly, to me, it was a very hopeful experience.
Yeah.
I was like, this is dope, man. And, like, I really hope this continues and it's not just, like, something we see for a few years and then just goes away, you know?
And with all good things, you see it for like a good maybe 2 years, and then it's like, hey, whatever happened to, hopefully it sticks around for a while.
You know?
And what's happening for you on March 8th?
I'm releasing a new single.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I did my research.
There we go.
Yeah. Talk about it.
I'm releasing a new single. It's the first single off my album, Still Rich.
Okay.
I'm really excited about this single. I'm really excited about this project, this era, everything that's going on right now. And yeah, I mean, I'm just very confident about the music I'm making. So I'm glad to finally be sharing it, you know? Mm-hmm. Because it was a lot of hard work going into like this next project, but it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like I expanded, you know, my repertoire, challenged myself, a lot of fun moments, a lot of vulnerable moments, and I think people are just gonna enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you mentioned that you're working on an album as well.
Mm-hmm.
What can people expect from that album coming up, if you would like to share? Because I
Yeah.
know it's still, you're
Yeah.
working on it. Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like good storytelling. Like, I feel like City News was more so about what was going on around me, and Still Rich is all about me. Like, I put the camera right back on myself, you know, and I just show my highest and my lowest points, and I really just have a good concluding message with, you know, the story that I'm sharing. And yeah, it's just that, you know, you're still rich. Like, you know, like, everybody has these ambitions, and sometimes I think people, you know, they don't reach where they want to get to, they don't get what they want, and I think that discouragement causes people to feel like, oh, like, I don't have this, or I'm not this, I'm not that. But it's like, no, like, I think at the end of the day, you are rich. Like, you know, like, it's in you. Whatever you get, whatever you gain, like, that's just surplus, right? But you have to approach everything as if you already have whatever it is you're chasing. You know?
And you did mention that this album is kind of going to touch on some of your lowest points. So one thing I did want to note and ask you, like, what has been one of the most challenging things you've had to face as a rapper trying to pursue this as a career? And, you know, tell us about whatever that is. And I also know you've had your adversities with your basketball, but like, is there anything that was super hard for you to kind of encounter while chasing the dream?
I think just being a rapper. It's like you say you want to be a rapper, and everyone's like, oh, you know,
I know.
you want to be a rapper? You know, it's like, you're a basketball player, now you want to be a rapper, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe you should actually take a deep dive and see what I'm doing, and you'll get it. You know, I'm not just trying to be a rapper.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But again, that's just how it comes off initially. So that's hard. And I feel like it used to be something that, like, I had trouble, like, articulating, introducing myself as. But now I'm like,
Do you do it now?
yeah.
Okay, good.
And it's not that I ever hit it, but it always felt weird.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want people to assume
To
something
start
that
making
wasn't
those stereotypes.
right. But now I'm like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No,
You're wrong.
100%.
You know, like, it's not what that is.
Yeah.
This is something completely different than what's probably going on in their head, you know?
So when did your confidence start to kick in where like you mentioned before, you were kind of afraid to introduce yourself as a rapper? So what was the final straw of, like, you know, I don't care, I'm a rapper?
City News.
Oh, and that just came out.
Yeah, after I made that, I was like, this isn't normal. Like, I realized it, because I did way more than I've ever done. Like, I've just, like, made songs before. But that album, like, I worked so hard on it that I was like, this is legit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I felt it in me. I was like, oh, no. Like, I just reached another, like, level of artistry, you know, that I was proud of, to where I was like, yeah, like, I'm proud to show somebody this on another level, you know? And yeah, I think the creation of that really just helped me with my confidence. I feel like I could never do anything again.
Really?
You know, like, just because of everything that went into that. I could rest with that. Not that that's what I want to do,
No, I hear what
but that's
you're
how I
saying.
feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you put a lot of work into that, and
Yeah.
you felt like, you know, it all kind of paid off.
100%.
And it's still probably paying off.
No, for sure.
know?
For sure.
And what's the end goal for you? Or I hate to use the word end, but like,
Right.
what are the things you would really like to, like, accomplish in the next coming years?
I just want people to live to my music. Like, you know, I want I don't just want to reach a certain stage. I want to be there because people listen to my music and people feel my music.
Yeah.
People enjoy it. People tell their mom about my music, their kids about my music. Like I want to create music that, you know, just improves people's lives. You know, whether it's just through making them laugh, maybe it makes them cry, you know, maybe it consoles them. Whatever it does, I hope it does something. And I know that, you know, when you do that for people through the music, they support, you know, and they come from wherever in the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And any final thoughts or things you'd like to share with the viewers?
Self-confidence, believe in yourself. Like, people say it all the time, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's easier said than done, right?
Like I am actively doing things to like actually believe what I say to myself. Because we learn to say different things when we grow up. You know, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that. But you gotta believe it. You know, and that's a whole different level of like just strength that you have when it's like you can move through the world of people not treating you like you are those things, but you believe it so strongly that it's like people feel it. Yeah. You know, and it's like confidence again is not what you say. It's like it's what you believe. You know, and you could always tell when somebody says it versus when somebody believes it. And like there's a lot of times where like I would say to myself that I felt like, you know, I was good, but I didn't believe it. But now I believe it. Yeah. And I want that for everybody. Whatever you got to do to get to that point, you know, whether it's just working on yourself more or just, you know, just even just blocking out the distractions and the noise to really get to that point, do it because I believe it takes you through all the tribulations that you need to get through, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Confidence is key. And as you mentioned, it's not just about what you say, but also like what you do, how you present yourself, your actions. So yeah, that is a very important point. And where can people find you if they want to tap in, stream your music, follow you on socials, all of that?
Jon Kabongo, JON_KABONGO, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, you know. Yeah, and a lot of exciting things on the way. Trust me. And I'm very excited to be sharing for sure. Yeah.
100%, 100%. And you've heard it here first.
Yes.
Make sure to check out Jon Kabongo on all streaming platforms and social media. And you know what to do. If you're not already keeping up with us, you can follow the show on Instagram at Talkin Hip Hop Show. That's talking without the G, Hip Hop Show. I'm your host, JustKeekz, and until next time, keep talking hip hop. Peace.
Hey.